Other interesting business news, you have a judge ruling that Google has illegally maintained a monopoly. Though, what will be the consequences? Probably nothing. But nevertheless, a fascinating ruling. This comes to us thanks to, again, the OG search engine, Yahoo Finance, as well as the Associated Press. Pull it up right here. And they say, quote, Google illegally maintained monopoly over internet search. Judge rules. Well, I don't think this judge does rule in terms of he's cool, as the youth might say, but this grammatical error, it's just well, not error. He literally ruled on the case, but that word pun kind of fell flat, but I went for it, kind of. Only partially digress. Now, this comes to us thanks to Michael Leitier and Matthew Barkat, who are writers of the Associated Press. They say, quote, a judge ruled that Google's ubiquitous search engine had been illegally exploiting its dominance to squash competition and stifle innovation, a seismic decision that could shake up the internet and help up one of the world's best-known companies. Well, best known, most controlling, most manipulative, most censorious platform on the planet. Again, I highly implore people to use alternatives like the big green one. That's one I like to stream. That's one I like. That's one I prefer. They say, quote, the highly anticipated decision issued by U.S. District Judge Amit Mehta came nearly a year after the starting of the trial pitting the U.S. Justice Department against Google in the country's biggest antitrust showdown in the quarter century. After reviewing reams of evidence that included testimony from top executives at Google, Microsoft, Apple during the last year's 10-week trial, Mehta issued his potentially market-shifting decision 3 months after the two sides prepared their closing arguments in early May. He said, quote, after having carefully considered and weighing the witness testimony and evidence, the court reaches the following conclusion. Google is a monopolist and has acted as one to maintain a monopoly. And, unquote, he also, I guess his ruling was 277 pages. We need a Cliff Notes for rulings. There probably is one. Now, he said, quote, Google's dominance in the search engine market is evidence of its monopoly. Google enjoys, wow, it's actually not as much as I thought relative to my expectations. They say, quote, Google enjoys an 89.2% share of the market for general search engine services, which increases to 94.9% on mobile devices. 94.9% on mobile devices. That is astronomical. Can't but think 18 people also appreciate, was it Apple Safari? Is that the one that they call for their search engine? I think we all have one friend who uses that one. Personally, I prefer platforms like Brave, or search engines like Brave. They say, quote, it represents a major setback for Google and its parent company Alphabet, which has steadfastly argued that the popularity stemmed from consumers' overwhelming desire to use a search engine so good what it does is become synonymous with looking things up online. Google search engine processes an estimated 8.5 billion queries per day worldwide, nearly doubling the daily volume from 12 years ago. Of course, they're growing like a weed, or some might argue a tumor. Yeah, and it's quite concerning how easily they can manipulate the users to sway elections and really push public opinion. And there realistically isn't a lot of competition. Very similar to the YouTube. Most people had never even heard of the big green competitor that I upload on daily to multiple times, which is a shame. I tell as many people about as possible. It's called Rumble, and spoiler alert, there's a rumor that if you say that, just if you whisper that name on the YouTube, it gets your videos shadow banned and yada yada, which fascinatingly enough, after I started covering certain controversial business and cultural topics, the views went down to relatively zero, though production had increased. So fascinating how that statistically is impossible. I partially digress. Now, it'll be interesting to see. I don't know how they would possibly break up Google. This is like Standard Oil or any of those companies where you could have all those refineries all over. Google has all the data centers, but the Google search engine is one thing. I don't know, there's been rumors for years that maybe they'll force the Google Ads division to break off or something like that. I'm not sure how conceivable that is, since those two companies or two parts of the business are so closely entwined with each other. And I'm not sure what the consumer preference is in terms of will consumers actually shift away for something. That's why I'm pretty skeptical. I don't know how they would conceivably break up Google. And really any fine would be laughable since, again, they're one of the most profitable, largest companies on the planet. Even if they were to fine them $1 billion, it's nothing for Google. Their market cap is worth more than most countries. So it is interesting that a judge did finally rule this monopoly, but what will be done? I'm not too sure, but let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.